I'm Derek Gilbert with a brief update from Skywatch TV for Thursday, December 4th, 2024. Rather than regular 5 and 10, this week being very time compressed. I've got a couple of medical appointments I've had to take care of, a CT scan, post-op visit with the surgeon to confirm that my recovery is as good as it feels thus far. In the middle of all this, and preparing for the Branson Christmas Prophecy Conference, which I'll tell you more about that in just a minute, broke a piece off a molar. So emergency dental work, no pain or anything like that. Just got to make sure that there's nothing more that needs to be done other than just grinding down the rough edge. But anyway, with all of that going on, no time to do a full report today. But here are stories that we are watching this week. I talked yesterday about Syria perhaps being the new battleground, the new theater in what is emerging as World War III. We've talked about the U.S., Russia, Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and perhaps even China now getting involved on the ground in Syria. Of course, you know that Ukraine is ongoing. The front lines for the Ukrainians appear to be collapsing as the Russians now are pushing into Ukraine. We know that North Korean soldiers are fighting on the ground there in Ukraine. While that's going on, Joe Biden, on his way out the door as president of the United States, sending a surge of new weapons to Ukraine and also authorizing Ukraine, as has the United Kingdom, to use long-range missiles to strike deeper inside Russia. While this is happening, telecom cables between Finland and Sweden, the two newest members of NATO, have been disrupted, apparently by a cargo ship, a Chinese cargo ship that has dragged its anchor across the ocean floor for 100 miles, apparently in a deliberate effort to disrupt communications between these Northern European allies of the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, etc. In other words, the newest members of NATO. Is this connected to what's happening in Ukraine? Don't know. But again, it looks like when you take it all together, it appears to be the initial stages of what will someday be called World War III. While that's happening, we're watching Joe Biden in Africa. Immediately after issuing his pardon to Hunter, he took off for Africa to avoid questions by the U.S. press. He's in Angola, where he's launched a $1 billion U.S. initiative to build a new rail system to facilitate trade between Africa and the continent, and the North American continent, the United States, perhaps trying to counter China's multi-billion-dollar investments in Eastern Africa. Is this too little, too late? Don't know, but once again showing why the American people not really wanted Joe Biden to continue as president. At a summit meeting of African leaders in Angola, Joe Biden fell asleep in the middle of the meeting, putting his head down, covering his eyes, and apparently just falling asleep. Anyway, these are the stories that we're keeping our eyes on right now. We will have more next week. Sharon and I will be at the Branson Christmas Prophecy Conference. In fact, by the time you see this today, we probably are already on our way there, which means we will not have an update on Friday, and we will not have an update on Monday either, as the conference runs through Sunday. So we won't have time to prepare and present an update on Monday. So we will return on Tuesday. Next Tuesday. I appreciate your understanding. Try to do more this week, but again, with the unexpected dental work and the fact that we live in the country and that every time we've got to make a run to a doctor or a dentist, it's a 2-hour round trip, not counting the time in the chair. We will also this week remind you that the Resurrection War, Skywatch TV's virtual conference, is now available. You can stream it instantly. You get 90 days access to all of the presentations. I highly recommend it. Joe Artis Horn's presentation on Rescue Us. More on that in just a moment. But this presentation really shows his heart and his passion for what drives us at Skywatch TV and our ministry at Whispering Ponies Ranch. Please, if you watch nothing else on the Resurrection War, watch Joe Horn's presentation. Dr. Mike Spaulding's presentation on the resurrection of Israel and the biblical support for the modern state of Israel being the fulfillment of prophecy. I approach it, one of my bonus presentations added to the conference, sort of looks at the hidden history of the modern state of Israel and how Israel came to be. It will surprise you because this is history that some of the players involved, including a Vice President of the United States, former Secretary of State of the United States, a former head of the CIA, would prefer you never hear, because they were working for 1930s Germany and against the creation of the modern state of Israel. That and more available instantly at defenderconference.com, defenderconference.com. Again, Rescue Us, the subject on the main Skywatch TV program this week. This week's program, we talked to Samantha Orr, who was the victim of what authorities in Missouri called the worst case of abuse in the history of our state. And she has been rescued by the love of Jesus Christ and ministries like our partners at Royal Family Kids. You find out more, hear directly from her on this week's program. Skywatchtv.com. You can watch it over the air. Skywatchtv.com/channels is where we posted our schedule. You can also catch it on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV. We've got all of our content there. Over the internet, you can watch it on YouTube at Skywatch Television, rumble.com/SkywatchTV, or by downloading our free mobile app to your smartphone or tablet, whether it's iOS, Android, Amazon Kindle Fire. We have links to all of those app stores at skywatchtv.com/app. The Branson Christmas Prophecy Conference. Sharon and I will be there beginning later today and through Sunday. I will be speaking Friday, early afternoon. Tomorrow, early afternoon, just after lunch, and then about 3 p.m. on Saturday. Now, if you're not going to be with us at the Chateau on the Lake in Branson, you can stream the conference. Live streaming is available at prophecywatchers.com or BransonChristmasProphecyConference.com. BransonChristmasProphecyConference.com. Sign up for streaming. Jonathan Kahn, L.A. Marzulli, Bill Salas, Josh Peck, Mondo Gonzalez, many other speakers, many of whom I'll be meeting for the first time. Guys like Alex Newman, Patrick M. Wood, who I've interviewed multiple times, meeting him face-to-face for the first time. Really looking forward to this. And again, if you're there, look for Sharon and me. We'll be happy to say hello to you. And again, if you can't be there, please take advantage of the streaming video. Until Tuesday then, thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert with a brief update, 5 and 10 from Skywatch TV.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we need the grassroots support of our Skywatch TV family to help us get the Rescue Us series out to as many people as we possibly can. This information is being suppressed, deleted, deplatformed, taken down, and is way too sobering for most network television outlets. We need you to get involved. We need you to join us in the efforts to get this series in front of your friends, your pastors, people of influence in government, your communities, anybody and everybody. Help us share this series not only to illuminate the many, many ways that we're losing an entire generation of children to intolerable darkness, but also to assist in the raising of an army of God's people willing to stand in the gap for them. The Rescue Us series shows the viewer what can be done by absolutely anybody willing to say, "Yes, Lord, I will answer the call. I will intervene for those who have no voice and for those who desperately need help." And that's why right now we're asking you to stand with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we're proud to introduce the Rescue Us special offer. For your donation of only $49.99, you'll not only receive a copy of the entire 6-DVD docuseries Rescue Us that uncovers the massive crisis destroying an entire generation of youth, all while challenging each one of us to rise up for our nation's most vulnerable and break the cycle of abuse. But you'll also receive the brand new documentary, Rescued, Samantha's Story, where Samantha Orr personally takes you through her nightmarish childhood of unthinkable trauma and abuse to her total restoration in the arms of Jesus Christ. But friends, that's not all. Right now, while supplies last, we're also including in this special opportunity the 4-hour audio series on disc, The Hidden Occultism of Epstein's Orgy Island by the late Dr. Thomas Horn. Silent Cry, The Darker Side of Trafficking, featuring Yaku Booyans, Ilanka Deaton, Dr. Thomas Horn, and others. And the major motion picture movie, Camp, on DVD that showcases what God can do in the life of a child desperate in need of rescuing through ministries like Royal Family Kids and is inspired by true events. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of $200. Yours now for your donation of only $49.99, which includes free shipping to all U.S. orders. But ladies and gentlemen, we are so committed to this message reaching as many viewers as is humanly possible that we want to equip you, our grassroots army of Skywatch TV friends and family members, with an opportunity to partner with us like never before. Join us in spreading this invaluable message through the Rescue Us Partner Pack, where you'll receive 5 copies of each of the items we just mentioned for your donation of only $165. That's right, when you order the special Rescue Us Partner Pack, you'll receive 5 copies of the entire 6-DVD docuseries Rescue Us, 5 copies of Rescued, Samantha's Story, 5 copies of The Hidden Occultism of Epstein's Orgy Island, 5 copies of Silent Cry, The Darker Side of Trafficking, and 5 copies of the major motion picture movie Camp on DVD. This massive collection of documentaries, audio series, and movies holds a retail value of $1,000. Yours now for your donation of only $165. With 5 complete copies of everything in the collection, that allows you to keep 1 for you and your family and 4 entire sets to share with people that you believe will also be inspired to stand up in defense of God's greatest gift to us, our children. Remember, your donation helps Skywatch TV continue to get this important message to the 4 corners of the world. You can also stream the entire Rescue Us series and/or Samantha's Story right now at skywatchtvstore.com/stream. So act quickly. You can scan the QR code on your screen using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity. Visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the Rescue Us special offer or the Rescue Us Partner Pack right now.